YouTubers, today we've got this Mercedes. It's the B class 180 circa 09-10. Doing the wheel bearing on it. It's got a grumble, so let's go through the process. First thing we need to do is get it in the air. Alright, let's get the wheels off it. Wheels off. So now we have nuts through here on the track rod end, and then detach that. Take this cover off, undo the nut behind it. A nut here, a nut here. And there's the other side for the bolt heads. Take this plastic off. Ball joint at the bottom. You can either go by the ball joint or these three nuts and bolts, which is generally easier. And then the brake carrier caliper there. So just take this cover off for getting you one in the kit. I want to make sure that we can loosen this off before I go any further. Alright, let's remove this nut. And that nut was a 30. So next thing to do is remove the track rod end. Now remove the track rod end. On this, they are a 22. If you can read that, not sure that you can. Yeah. But if you can't, take my word for it, it's 22. As I've shown you previously, a couple of good whacks. It should come out. Right, well this one doesn't want to, so you don't want to get crazy with it. We can use one of these. If you notice, that boot's damaged, I'll let the customer know. We can use this. Handy little tool. Sometimes this will just pop them out, other times need to give it a little spin. There we go. So no need to go animal on them. So Olivia Newton-John would say, God rest her soul. Yeah. So that needs a cover on it. That's off. That's off. Next we need to do Torx bolt here, and then we can get round the back and undo bolt here. Don't know if you can see that, the bolt here. Then we can get the caliper out of the way, the disc will come off, then we can start getting to the other bolts that we need. Right, that holds the disc in place. T27. Now I need to get our cables out of the way. Now these, if you pull these out, sometimes I need a trim remover on them. I can have a little clip here at the top, don't know how well you can see that. Lift out that clip, you know, wiggle. And we can get the trim removed behind it. It'll just help it on its way. And that's out. Yeah, here's a little clip. Same on this side. So that goes into this hole here, and this tag just helps keep it in place, the tag at the top there. Once that's out, we can give a little pull. Should be able to kind of, there we go, just give it a little wiggle out. Give this side a wiggle out. Tab in the top there. Alright, so that's all free now. So we've got plenty of room on the brake hose. This is a brake pad wear sensor wire here. So we can detach that from here. It pulls out, so we've got plenty on that one. This is the ABS sensor wire, which we're going to have to undo, and we'll undo that one from there. Right, so for your ABS sensor, it lives here, and it has an E10 Torx bit on it, or female. Now, in the UK or anywhere where it can be a bit rusty, before you try and undo that, I would definitely give it a good spritz of your favourite release agent, WD, GT80, whatever it may be. So the bolt's out of it now, and this is really lucky. See, this is one of the good things about being in Spain. There's far less corrosion. Quite often you have to give them a good spritz up and then gently twist them, and then they eventually come out, or they snap and you end up drilling them out. This one came out nice. The next part of the process is to take off the brake caliper and carrier. So what I'll do is I'll get it up in the air, and then we'll get this bit done. So these are 18s. We'll attack the top one first. Top one. Now the bottom one. But we don't want that all the way out, otherwise the whole unit's going to drop. So I've got the top bolt out and the bottom bolt loose. I didn't want to remove that fully because it could cause us an issue if this whole lump drops down, but now in charge of it. Remove that bolt. So the bolt there. Give the carrier a little turn. So that's the carrier assembly there. Pull the disc off. And then we can safely hook this carrier up. So I was going to go through the middle, but that's the pad wear sensor, so I'm going to go through the side instead. I should go to a metal hook really. Certain jobs, it makes it a bit easier. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to go with it. Treat myself to some metal hooks. Now that's going nowhere and nothing is being pulled. Oh good. Caliper carrier off. Everything nice, loose. Nothing's pulling anywhere. Next we're going to do these two bolts with their corresponding nuts there. And then we're going to do, there we go, 1, 2 and 3 nuts and bolts. And we'll be able to take this whole unit off. Take the splash pad off, get it on the press and swap the bearings. Well, that's a bit later. And that's 2. Tap there, so what I do is pop the top one back in for now. So about that. Now we've got the 3 at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is leave these 2 in loose. We get the 3 at the bottom out. The top is a 15. And the bottom is a 17. So 15 top, 17 bottom. I'm trying to do this without getting my arm in the way. Right, there we are. That's that. Now we need to separate this. Get a little screwdriver behind it, give it a little wiggle out, and make sure at the same time you're not pulling out your drive shaft, which is here. This drives quite often, you can just push them, there we go. Just push that in with my thumb. So that's the drive shaft separated now. Get a little screwdriver in behind there. It's not in there tight, so it's just a little wiggle. Make sure we're not hung up on anything. And that's the unit off. Set up a slide hammer because we want to detach this outer hub. So this is the outside of the bearing. We have to remove this circlip here. So we get our circlip pliers, then we can remove this circlip. Now to remove the circlip. Sometimes you have to get a little screwdriver under the back of these. There we go. Here's a new bearing. As you can see, this is a magnet on this side. The old bearing is very dirty, but this is the magnet towards the back, and this is where the pickup for the ABS sensor is. So the magnet has to be at the back for the ABS sensor pickup. Need to remove this splash plate. I mean, you can do it without, but I find it easier. Crappy design, just pressed on. That took nothing to get that. Surprised it stayed on. So now you need to remember orientation. You can mark it if you wish, but for me, you just need to know that that's where your caliper carrier mounts, and then you have a cutout for your brakes. Simple. Cut out the bottom here for the lower wheel joint. So remember that, you can't really go wrong with that. Next what you need to do is find the right press for the bearing. You don't want one that goes on the middle of the bearing, so push the middle out. It just needs to sit on the outer edge of the bearing. Next we get the hub set up on the press and press out the bearing. Right, now I can press out the bearing. With these, what I normally do is sit it flat on here, on the press, because we know we've got a little bit of room so when the bearing starts moving. If you want to get a little bit more height, add a bit more height to the press. Don't forget your safety glasses. Okay, so we're not quite centred because we've got to really try and get this out straight. it's got movement. And we've got it moved to the bottom now. So we can change our setup. Bearing. Now we're going to need to clean up the old hub. Now we're ready to reassemble the bearing, the new bearing, into the knuckle. Need to note, ABS sensor goes to the back. So this is where the ABS sensor goes. So the magnet, the black on the bearing, has to go to the back. That's front, shiny. That's the back. So we need to, the bearing gets pushed in from the front. So that's the back, that's the front. Let's get this set up on the press and I'll be back show you how I've done it. So we want the biggest press sleeve that's going to sit on the outer edge of the bearing without getting stuck in the knuckle. So magnet side goes towards the back. In there. Now you notice I've got another bearing sleeve here which is bigger than this aperture so that it all gets held up nice, and it's so important to get all this square. And try not to drop your press sleeves. Now we can kind of adjust it as it's going. Start forcing it in if it's not square. Make sure that the magnet isn't facing towards the front, otherwise you'll be buying a new bearing. Now if you notice, it's just straightening itself up now, which is good. So we're nice and square. So I've made a bit of resistance. Square it all up a bit. It's the same with any job you do. If you take your time, don't force or rush it, it's generally good. Right, that's bottomed out now. Now you'll be able to see, hopefully in here, is where the circlip's going to go. There's plenty of room for that. Next job, install the circlip. In this kit, you get a new cover, the proper Mercedes nut, and a nice new circlip. Yep. All fingers and thumbs today. New circlip. Sometimes I have to just give it a little wiggle. That circlip is home. It's in the groove. Just something I do. I always give them a little tap. Probably not necessary, but it's something I've always done. It makes me feel better. So just make sure it's home. So that's the new bearing in. I suppose put the splash plate on. Which, as I said, it's got a cutout here that goes by the low ball joint. And this is basically a tap. But to be fair, might as well just tap it on. I mean, really, Mercedes. That's great. Now we're ready to press the hub. What you need is a sleeve that is going to be the same diameter as the inner part of this bearing. Because otherwise, as you press the hub in, it'll push out the centre of the bearing. So you need the sleeve this same diameter as the centre of the bearing. And remember, hub sits on the outside. Let's see what we've got in there. Okay, that sits nicely on the centre of that bearing. Now that's not good. But this hub's actually very worn. Needs another hub. I'll speak to the customer.